Take it away as the first pistol round begins.
Alrighty, important round I'd say here for Dignitas to start themselves the best possible way as they move through onto Inferno. EnVyUs looking for a split push here. Two players. This is going to be Happy and Apex looking to try and fake out potentially onto the app side, while the rest of the team with the bomb in the hands of MBK look to force their way onto B, which is where Kirby and MSL are currently residing. Kirby on the coil, spots himself a player. Very quick rotation through from EnVyUs, looking like they're going to go back up mid onto the A side, but still three players there from Dignitas, so no early damage has been inflicted from either team. And Dignitas will definitely feel like this potential rotation has came in. And there we go, Rubino peeks out, spots 2 or 3 players, and then they're able to start to push down Banana. But there's still so much time from EnVyUs. They could even go back to B if they choose.
Now they're moving towards it now. It's going to be Kirby really trying to sit in the way of this one. And he spots it coming, but he's going to have to fall back. Not really able to pick up any of the damage onto these players. A lot of Dignitas has rotated away from this one. And even some of their guys aren't fully convinced that it's going to be rolling into this site. Thankfully, there's a great flash that's tossed in there. And they get this crossfire rolling right now. They do manage to forge their way a little bit closer over here towards Grill. But then Tensky finding another one. Now Happy in along with Apex. They're forging their path back in. MSL still picking up these frags as he comes back in towards Guard. And Rubino has something to say about this one too, coming in through CT. The rest of EnVyUs is split up a little bit, but Keo and Happy hold their own.
For a similar setup to what we saw on Train as well, and to be honest, again, there's 3 players with that head armor. The MAC-10, the UMP, will be able to shred through those heads, so I'm a bit concerned for Dignitas here. And of course, if Kenny S does go in first and he dies, he's got an op next round anyway. Happy and MBK both chime in onto Tensky. It's a 2-for-2 trade so far, but that A site has been pounded. There's only Conflict left alive. He's about to get encircled by terrorist players. The first frag has been picked off. He's going to get caught napping there from Apex. He's still looking towards mid, but Apex is very low. He's going for that bomb plant. Unbeknown to him though, Kirby's starting to push on through. Teammate is there, but Apex gets the final shot, leaving MSL in a 1 versus 2 retake scenario.
MSL's already made some noise over here too, so they know he's coming from this angle, and he can hear that gun inside of the sights. I believe he realizes that Apex is going to be sitting in there somewhere. And I think he realizes that Q is sitting in that position to pit too. So this is a really creative smoke here from MSL. Unfortunately, he plays it way too slowly for his own good. This is definitely not the case. MSL has put himself behind sandbags, but that's about as aggressive as the entire team has got. Even on the A site, there's no one inside the apartments. There's nobody watching Rap side. There's nobody watching Porch. They're just on the site itself. One's watching from Library. So very passive defense setup from Dignitas. And it is playing absolutely the way that EnVyUs want to have it right now, as they're just moving very, very slowly closer to that A site. And in the process of this, boxing out more and more of the reinforcements that could potentially come back in from that B site.
This systematic approach from EnVyUs has been absolutely beautiful to watch here on the C side. One smoke after another, pushing in together, having each other's backs, covering every single potential cover, angle I should say. And as you can see, just like the kills are lining up for them. Kirby, last remaining player, flashbang in his face, he's going to have to hold fire for now. The call may come through that MBK is pretty low, but still a 3 versus 1. It's unlikely. He walks right into the crosshair of Kiyoshima, who will dispatch him with haste. You then lose a 1v3 clutch. Like, your confidence must be in the dirt right now. The good news for Dignitas, at least, is they have weapons to play with. So they're not going into an eco round after that. They are at least going to have M4s with an AWP. Can they make anything work with it? MSL gets the better of Kenny S. That's definitely the right way to start things out.
And now these guys are going to push forward here too. As we can see, EnVyUs pretty much lining up that same sort of play that they've been using. This has been their go-to strat for many of these rounds, just playing it nice and slowly, trying to find some opening picks. Unfortunately, as you were mentioning before, MSL has a great start to himself. There's going to be one over here. I don't believe Apex expects there to be a second player over here from Dignitas, like in the Jesus polls. So Rubino, he's going to be able to find a trade to it. Kirby lining up another one over there onto NBK as well. Brings it down to just one more left alive here from EnVyUs. It's going to be Happy, down to a 1 versus 3. Just did it in the previous round, but it's not going to happen this time, as Dignitas do have the guns.
There are no easy rounds for Dignitas here to play with. And then it's EnVyUs, right? Like, even if they don't have money, they can still force buy, like, Deagles and still wreck you, so who knows? Apex proved that in the previous map when he put, well, I think it was 3 kills while flashbang with a 5-7 to wrap it up. Ridiculous.
So Kenny's going to press forward now. Has some second thoughts on it because he is getting some resistance from the grenades there. MSL, ooh, just barely connecting that shot on a Happy. Almost missing it too, but I think he gets lucky there with the arc that it spreads out to. But he's going to be dropped to 32 HP after that one, so he has to fall back. He'll take up a position behind Truck instead. Confid's also watching this too. There's currently nobody keeping an eye out for a balcony push. So as Apex finds his way out here, there's literally going to be no one resisting him. And he needs to go for it right now. Obviously, he doesn't realize that it's as clear as it is, and they're starting to shut these guys down. So in drops Apex. There's 1 and 2. Big mistake from Dignitas. Now they've got the site control, but the problem is they've lost the bomb. And also Kiyoshima, the last player alive besides Apex, has gone down. Apex trying to work something, but it's not going to happen. Tensky shuts it out there. He picks up 3 kills again here, despite quite a few players not being able to afford either an AK or a rifle in itself. Halfy's back down into a CZ buy. For NVK, he's onto a Galil. We still have a nice amount of utility, so it's not going to really stop their potential to move into the site itself. But when they get in there, the sites is probably going to be the biggest problem. But they find 2 and 3 and 4. What the hell just happened? Envy has shut it down completely. And it's just Kirby on the B site wondering what the hell he's supposed to do now.
Must be scratching his head, like, guys, what? Why am I
Where did you
alone?
go?
Like, within 3 seconds, 4 of his teammates died. That is a WTF moment, if ever you've seen one. Either way, he's going to try and salvage the AWP, but there's so much time to play with, and because of a sudden boom in economy that EnVyUs will be receive after this one, and the fact they want to keep that AWP away from Dig, they may very well try and just chase this down. And Kenny S is going to be delaying this bomb plant, maybe allowing the rest of his team to get into position to try and frag Kirby at the end. He's down to 39, and here it comes. Here comes the cavalry for EnVyUs. Kirby, last man standing. Can you pull this off? Flashbangs, everything being thrown in his face.
They're just gonna overwhelm him here probably in a moment. One player's pushed into the garden area, and oh, there's a second miss, and that's all he's gonna be able to get out. Unfortunately, Apex takes him down there. It should be problematic here, especially if EnVyUs just line up a smoke push again, which they've been doing for a lot of this half.
Oh, Rubino very nearly gets himself a second frag as well, but will be traded out from MBK. So good start from EnVyUs. MSL down Banana again, delivers the fatal blow to Kiyoshima. Him and Tensky, probably the standout players thus far for Dignitas here on Inferno. But they still have 3 angry Frenchmen to contend with, one of which is Kenny S with his AWP. Had a crazy game on train earlier. Saw glimpses of the Kenny of old. But can he pull off some frags here and take this round for EnVyUs alongside Apex and MBK? They got the bomb, they've got time to play with. They still have a few flashes to use. The config moves in, gets picked off from Kenny S. And that's going to alleviate some of the pressure. They are starting to push in onto the site. There's a player on there. MSL gets caught in transition. He's picked off as well. And now it's all on Tensky. He's been spotted from Kenny S, who goes in, lands the flick shot. And Kirby again is scratching his head, trying to retake. No point saving. It's the last round of the half. But he's going to be walking into Kenny S, who picks up yet another one. EnVyUs lead 11-4 at halftime.
And EnVyUs were again at the beginning of this map. Not too bad to bring it up to that point at least. And we already go live. We've got, of course, guys, with the second half now. Config from Dignitas picking up the first kill onto Apex. As now EnVyUs jump onto that CT side.
Can't really stress enough how important this pistol round is for Dignitas if they want any hope of getting into this best of 3. Of course, if you have just joined us, 1-0 to EnVyUs. It was a bit iffy, I think is a safe word to say, at the end of that map. And I think Maniac even said on Twitter they struggled to finish it off, but they did 16-11. And now we move across to Inferno. The first half very much going the way of EnVyUs. But Dignitas with that opening pick, looking to try and force their way onto B. And it is just MBK by himself that's on the coils. He can land some one-taps. This is doable. He hasn't been picked off just yet. There we go. Kirby has finally struck, and that should be the bomb plant. And really on paper, that should be this pistol round going to Dignitas. But EnVyUs still have 3 players alive, including Kiyoshima, who is a monster in pistol rounds.
We've already got Dignitas in full control. The rest of EnVyUs, they've wrapped back in, but the odds of them actually getting back into the site, they're probably hit somewhere on the ground there, but again, they're just getting picked off left and right here. So this is already going to be one that Dignitas starts themselves off with. And immediately, this is like 8 times of a closer game than it was back on train, too, because EnVyUs previously, of course,
so I'm not necessarily going to even say Dignitas will definitely get these next 2 rounds, but they should be able to get at least one of them. So let's see. Dropping the bomb back at spawn. Almost expecting that a fast push could be imminent, but that's not the case. EnVyUs playing pretty standard. 2 on B, rest on A. We'll be backing on off. Now the bomb has been picked up, coming up through mid. Kenny S just shoulder peeking mid, so he can scurry away, get some vital information. And MSL's about to peek him. He has just spotted a MSL, will push himself back. And meanwhile, Apex is setting up for a smoke.
And Tensky screwing around with the players on B a little bit here too, just tossing some stuff in there, trying to throw them off to a certain degree, but I think EnVyUs realized what's going on. Kenny pushing forward, drops the bomb onto the ground, picking up one, and the second on a config, almost lining up a third, but thankfully Kirby trades it back. There's going to be Tensky picking up one over on the B site in the meantime, but Happy does put it back into his own control. Now it's just Rubino. He's down to a 1 versus 2. Happy, hey, has managed to pick up that Mac 10. He's rounding towards mid. That could be dangerous here in a moment. Might be able to beat it, but thankfully Rubino gets himself out of the lane just in the nick of time. He's trapped now, though, and Apex falls back, picks up the AK, and finishes it up on his own.
EnVyUs themselves into such a good position from just a few moments ago. We were saying, you know, dignitas have a real shot at this now. Well, no, they've just been flushed back down the toilet.
So for Dignitas here, of course, they are going to force it up immediately after this. Tensky somehow picking up that opening kill there onto NBK. Now these players push themselves in. Happy gets into the mix there. He finds another kill, but it's evenly traded back out there. And Dignitas still maintain a one-man advantage, picking up a couple more guns here too. As Rubino's going to upgrade to the UMP, but they get a little bit too aggressive there. Config goes into Envy territory there and is shut down by Apex as he pushes through that smoke. It's even back down to a 3 versus 3. A lot of pressure being placed in here by the members of EnVyUs now as they start to wrap it in, but there's another kill through the smoke. Rubino gets lucky, finds Apex, and now Tensky lining up some of the final guys here. It's just going to be Keo trying to very carefully find his way into this site, but I don't believe there's a way for him to get in here without taking too much damage. He's got 2 flashbangs, but as he re-peeks back out towards CT to retreat, there is 2 members of
EnVyUs are refusing. So they are maintaining eye contact.
The problem is, though, is that if it goes on for too long, eventually, like, EnVyUs aren't going to have a choice. But the good news is EnVyUs with a lead, like, if they just bounce the points back and forth here for the next, like, 5 or 6 rounds, EnVyUs is eventually going to be at 16 rounds anyway, so it's not even going to matter. So they can still play this, and regardless if they're eventually forced out of doing this just because they won't have enough money to, it'll still eventually work out better for them because they're maintaining the same lead and they're getting closer to the 16 rounds. But in comes dignitas now. NBK gets himself right out into the middle of the action. Pulls out 1 kill, but Kirby responding right back after that to pick up an additional 1. The rest of Envy is quick enough on the rotation. The plant coming in very swiftly this time from Kirby as well, but wrapping back in through the guard. We've got multiple players coming in. They don't expect this to come as swiftly as it does. Apex finding MSL initially. There's a player hiding back over here. Kenny, the KZ skills there, jumping back in, gets himself on top, almost shutting down Config, but gonna miss the connection there. Now taking him down, though, and then Apex finding another one, too. It's up to Rubino once again, in a 1 versus 4 now. Stuck back over here. He does have an angle on the bomb, lining up one, down to 11 HP. They're trying to find him in this. They're defusing the bomb, too, but he gets 2 more. Thankfully, Apex finds the trade, and I think he should have just enough time to defuse this bomb and for EnVyUs to get themselves yet another round here. Now up to 13, 3 more away from winning the map. And, ooh, it's actually going to be close, but I think they just get it.
And the last 3 rounds, the team that you expect 14-6 are probably too far to climb back from an Inferno. And if they win this, it's the added bonus of breaking the economy of EnVyUs once more. So this is almost a 2-for-1 round. Well, I say that, but the way this game's gone, who actually knows? MBK with the first frag. Anyway, Happy gets caught looking. Maybe a bit of miscommunication. The flashbang didn't quite go off. 4 on 4. But it's just MBK on the site by himself. What can he pull off here? Can he live up to the natural born killer? No, he can't. He gets picked off from Tensky. And that should be the bomb now, moving onto the B site. But Kenny S may have something to say about that.
It's happening again. Kenny moving in. He's smoked out, but he is able to connect some damage over on a Tensky, sitting him down at 18 HP, but heavily the odds are against these members now as they're smoked out from both angles. This is going to be a blind re-push into this site, but they get 2 anyway, and then Keo combos it into a 3rd, looking for that 4th. Config finally takes him down, but he's trapped outside now. He's going to try to re-push in, but he just walks into the spray for the 2 remaining members of EnVyUs. There we go. They chain it together anyway. Huge play from these guys, and now they are right back into the mix here, up to 14 rounds.
Oh no, what we've watched today, Blue. Both times, B has been the site of choice for Dignitas. I think MBK actually made a tweet saying, I wish we could just remove B on train because they were getting slaughtered on that. That's how the comeback came in. And it seems like, again, from Dignitas, maybe EnVyUs is just calling the predictions, the very predictive play from Dignitas. And I'm speaking, it is lights out Counter-Strike. It's all on Tensky. He's not going to get it done. EnVyUs will take the series 2-0 and progress through to the grand finals. They will face the winner of Titan and Team ?